Hi, I'm Rita Allen, and I want to talk with you for just a moment about one of the greatest women in the Bible. Her name was Esther. Most of us know the story of Esther, how she became queen after Queen Vashti was banished from the palace. But what I want you to think about this morning is when Queen Esther was given the opportunity to become queen, she was a little fearful. She was a little hesitant because this was the king. This was not some neighborhood guy that she fell in love with, and their courtship grew, and finally one day decided they would get married. This was the king. So when Mordecai came to her and said, I want you to go, and I want you to be one of the ones who stands before the king in order to become a queen, I would imagine a million thoughts ran through her mind. Some very difficult and some probably very excited. But she knew that her uncle Mordecai walked with God. She knew that if he asked her to do something, she probably better do it. So she did as Mordecai asked, and ultimately she was chosen to be queen. You know, I've heard people say that this was technically the first beauty pageant. But you know what, folks? It wasn't really a beauty pageant. Even though Esther was beautiful, according to what the word says, what won the king over was her heart. Because, you know, if you remember, they would call in the young ladies and they would spend some time with the king. And that time that they spent with the king determined which one was going to be queen. And Esther won. It was her heart, her mannerisms, her joy, and I believe her heart of God. I think he was drawn to that. Because even though he was not a Christian, he was still drawn to that kindness that came forth from her heart because of walking in God's ways. But what I want to question you about this morning is, ladies, are you facing a situation in your life that is a little bit fearful? When you think about it, you just want to go, oh, I don't know if I can do this or not. You know, when Esther said to Mordecai, after they found out that Haman, a wicked man, was trying to kill all the Jews, Mordecai went to Esther and said, you have to go see the king about this. And Esther said, I can't do that, because if he doesn't hold out the golden scepter, my head can be cut off right then. Mordecai then said to Esther, Esther, do you not believe that if you don't do this thing, that God will raise up somebody else that will? And in essence, you'll get to lose your blessing. And how do you know, Esther, but what you were born for such a time as this? Ladies, how do you know but what you were born for such a time as this? For such a time as is happening in your life, no matter the difficulty, no matter the ground that you're going to have to walk that you've never walked before, no matter how you're going to have to walk by faith, sometimes even feeling like it's walking on water, because sometimes it does. It feels like you're going to sink if God didn't hold you up. But the great thing about it is that he will. He'll hold you up. If he begins a work in you, he will bring it to pass. You know, the word says, faithful is he that's begun a good work, and faithful is he that will bring it to pass. He will. He will hold your hand, and he will be right there with you. So my message today, ladies, to you, using Esther as our glorious, beautiful, divine example, is take that leap of faith. No matter what it is. Is it a new job? Is it a new journey? Is it dealing with somebody that has wreaked havoc in your life? Is it dealing with a tyrant at work or at church? No matter what it is, if God is laying on your heart to do the thing, do it. And trust in God's faithfulness that He will hold your hand and He will be right there with you, because He will. You know, a mistaken thing in today's world is that when we are called Christians, that we just have to show only love, that we should never engage people, that we should just be this, oh, let everybody live their life and you just live yours. That's not the Bible. That's not the Word of God. The Word of God teaches us how to engage people. The Word of God teaches us how to confront people who are abusing other people, who are hurting other people. And if we choose to be called Christians, we better walk in that Christian path. Because the God of the Bible is a jealous God. And He doesn't want us to stand by and watch people abused and maimed and hurt and carried to places that people shouldn't have to go. If we have the power to stand up and say, no, you can't do this anymore. And we do when we walk with God. My words to you today is, be like Esther. Go ahead and take the leap of faith and trust that God will walk right beside you and hold your hand all the way. And you know what might just happen? You might just end up being queen.